Greetings, friends! Welcome to an edition of Movie That's So Groovy. Movies that put a smile on my face. Gems you may have missed. I'm your host, Alex, and today's feature up for review is...
I saw the whole damn thing. I'm calling the police.
We are the police.
War on Everyone, starring Michael Peña, Alexander Skarsgård, Tessa Thompson, Caleb Landry Jones, Theo James, Paul Reiser, directed by John Michael McDonagh, 2016. Do you remember cop buddy movies? You know the ones I mean. The Lethal Weapon series, 48 Hours, Bad Boys, Red Heat with Awwnold and Jim Belushi, The Hardway with Michael J. Fox and James Woods. Movies that bounce between gritty crime drama and action comedy. Well, that creature is mutated into War on Everyone, director John Michael McDonagh's well-crafted love letter to the felon in us all, a seriously off-kilter black comedy about police corruption and a whole lot more. Imagine, if you will, a cop buddy movie where the two cops don't like cops.
Suckers.
Michael Peña as Bob and Alexander Skarsgård as Terry are two partnered, amazingly irresponsible Albuquerque police detectives, basically shakedown artists who just happen to be cops and living quite well as a result of everything they help themselves to. Thank you very much. They are so sociopathically nuts, they must live in a world more nuts than they are in order to have their antics seem like business as usual.
If I don't help you, what are you gonna...
Bust me for possession?
Educated man, Terry, this is an...
This is good coke. A shitload.
Meaning business as usual for these two is the rob the crooks blind. I'll take the widescreen TV, says Bob. In his universe, thou shalt not steal is one of the 10 suggestions.
Hey, G, double-crossing bastard, decoys us and skedaddles with the money.
Whose money?
Our money.
Well, it's not all like that. Bob and Terry will kick back some of the cash to a crook if he's willing to snitch, and even if instead they kick you in the groin to let you know who's in charge, they'll still drink with you. They can't be all that bad, and I guess that's the point. They're still policing, and even though their style can get a police department taken over by the Department of Justice, they're cops poking around, running down leads, and in this particular case, they've unwittingly stumbled upon a scheme to rob a racetrack, masterminded by a British lord named Mangan, played with diabolical suavity by Theo James. Of all the people who could be after this super criminal, it's Bob, a hilariously profane, un-PC, off-the-wall Hispanic flatfoot, ready to show everybody the error of their ways.
Jesus Christ, kid, with all the time in your hands, you think you'd do a better job than this. It's homeless, not harmless.
He's such a knucklehead, he treats everybody like a perp, including his kids, and his wife loves him for it. Ahem. Alexander Skarsgård plays Terry as if Mike Hammer had his brain transplanted into Dirty Harry's body, then escaped from Lady Frankenstein's laboratory only to be sexually assaulted by the Wolfman, which would explain Terry's night sweats. While the big guy might not necessarily enjoy knocking people out cold, he sure is good at it. Peña's performance mostly centers around him being the biggest BSer on 9 planets, as well as a dad in some demented sitcom. But Skarsgård really surprises in a great physical performance that keeps him in almost constant motion. Whether he's looking for a missing teenager who may have been sexually assaulted by Mangan, or dancing with his new girlfriend Jackie, played by Tessa Thompson, he really makes his half of the movie his. And he is great fun to watch. Special mention goes to Caleb Landry Jones, very effective as Mangan's jittery pretty boy associate, whose beating at the hands of Terry gives the story a grotesque edge. And Paul Reiser achieves perfect pitch in his exasperation as Lieutenant Stanton, the boss of these two scallywag clowns.
So do me a favor, fellas. Slowly, catchy monkey. You got it?
Got it.
So you're telling me it takes 2 off-the-reservation cops to go after a well-connected, malignant British aristocrat decamped on our side of the pond? Learn something new every day. This was one of those rare movies I had to watch 2 nights in a row just to be sure it played fair with all its bits, and I must say it does. but there was still something about it that was oddly out of place, yet vaguely familiar. And after I read a review mentioning the director McDonagh is from Ireland, I said to myself, okay, I get it. I happen to be a big fan of British crime drama, and War on Everyone's cynical view of law enforcement would fit right in with those stories. It's even got a bit of the old Irish versus British thing.
You never know when to shut up.
I mentioned to friends I was doing a video review of War on Everyone, and people would say, never heard of it. It's been out for over a year. You think it would have found some kind of an audience. However, it didn't do much at the box office, and maybe the title didn't let everybody in on the joke. Or just maybe the film, with its subplot involving a child pornography ring and its tip of the hat to Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut, hinting at those dark doings, was too much of a close shave for some movie distributors. I don't know.
It's all right, man. We're the good guys.
Yeah, we're the good guys.
You can talk to us.
Bob does use his moral compass on special occasions. Be that as it may, War on Everyone lands somewhere between a fractured fairy tale and an escape fantasy. And in its twisted world, we find women in burqas playing tennis, Bob proving to be the greatest detective since Sherlock Holmes,
You don't think we should try? There he is.
and Terry wondering aloud if a thug with a badge can have Buddha nature. Think of Bob and Terry as two larcenous leprechauns out on a tear. Seen that way, it all makes perfect sense. This movie is rated R for violence, nudity, crude language, sexual situations, drug use, mopery, racketeering, impropriety, unconstitutionality, having an open beer in the car, littering, and disturbing content like telling Paul Reiser he was never your friend in the first place. Step away from the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, sir. It's ours.